Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Jeff here. Thank you for tuning back in. And you know, if you haven't heard, the National is like 10 days away. And I'm excited for it. I've only been to one other National, which was last year in Cleveland. So this is my second one. Was not planning on attending, but my wife and I had a change of plans. We were heading off to Chicago about 2 weeks after the National to visit friends and family, and we ended up changing our plans, and we are going to be in town the weekend of the National. So I get to go at least one day to the National, planning on going Thursday. So we fly out next Wednesday and get to attend Thursday, and we'll see. Maybe I'll get to attend another day, but don't know. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to share what my budget is for the National this year and tell you guys about what I'm looking forward to picking up. And I don't feel like you hear that too often, right? I don't feel like you hear people talking about their budget too often, you know, maybe a private matter, and money is always, a private thing. But I feel like I'm probably very average, middle of the road, collector, spender, things like that. So I don't mind talking about those sorts of things, I'm sure there are people out there that wish they had my budget, for sports cards, and their budget's probably less. But I know there's a lot of guys out there who have a lot more money than I do to allocate towards sports cards. And so, and the money maybe I'm bringing to the National, people wouldn't even go, with that amount of money, right? They'd be like, oh, it's not even worth going to National for. But for me it is, so I'll just talk about that a little bit because I think that's kind of fun. And I like when I get to see guys talk about that in their videos. So I will talk about my budget for this year's National and share, what I want to pick up. And then I figured while I'm here talking about this, I will also tell you about what my budget was at last year's National and what I picked up last year. So I'm going to start there. So last year's National, I had a budget of $5,000. Now, to me, that is a lot of money, right? A lot of money to be able to just go spend on sports cards. It's like my wife, right? My wife does not have a hobby that she dedicates this much money to, right? Like for me to be able to go and spend $5,000 is crazy. Like my wife never gets to do that sort of thing, right? She's not a huge shopper, and she doesn't spend a lot on things for her. So I'm very appreciative that she allows me to do this. And I just find it funny, but again, that is a lot of money for me, and that's not normal. Like that's not normally what I would have for this type of thing. I ended up achieving that and having that much money, because I knew I was going to the National at least 10 months prior to going. So I started putting money away every month for it. I didn't use my whole card budget, but I'd probably put maybe $200 away every month towards it. So I think I probably put away maybe $2,000 towards it. And then, I had a change of careers, same industry, but a change of careers last year. So 10 years prior, I was kind of in one field doing one thing, and I used to get some pretty big bonuses at work. And so last year I had another pretty big bonus, and so I took a small chunk of that and put that away for the National as well. So I took $2,000 and put that away for the National. So between about the $2,000 I saved and the $2,000 that I put away from my bonus, I had $4,000. And then, we had some additional money that was just interest that we earned on a high yield savings that we have. And so I had asked my wife if she was okay with me taking a little bit of that interest that we had earned. So I took about $1,000 from that, and therefore how I came up with $5,000 for the National last year. And so that was great. That was, again, a lot of money for me. I am not bringing this much money this year, but it was fun last year. And at that point, before the National last year, I was working on, I've said this in a bunch of other videos, I have multiple checklists that I'm working on, and I compile it all into one master checklist. And so last year at the National, I was still mainly focused on cards in the 1970s, but I probably had maybe 20 cards left. And I figured while I was going to the National, and while I had this big chunk of money, at least to me, right? I was like, I'm gonna be getting into the 60s within the year, because I'm working my way back, right? I am not focused on anything 1950s, any pre-war stuff right now, anything like that, right? I am trying to stay focused, and I was focused on the 80s and newer. I was focused on the 70s. I pretty much have everything that I need from my main checklists in the 70s now, but last year at the National, I didn't. And so I was focused on any cards from the 70s that I still needed for my checklist, and I wanted to pick up some bigger of the 1960s cards, because I just knew that, buying a Nolan Ryan rookie or a Tom Seaver rookie, those are big purchases. They're expensive, and it's just not something I can do, obviously, on a monthly basis. And so I figured I would shoot for some of those at the National. So last year's National, I'm gonna show you what I ended up picking up. So altogether at the National, I ended up spending about $4,500. And then I did have a buddy that went with me. And then after the National, I ended up buying some cards off of him that he was looking to get rid of. So I'll show those too. But at the National, these are the cards I picked up. So from my 1970s that I needed, and I'm doing my 70s cards in SGC slabs. So I picked up a 1972 Topps Willie Mays. I picked up a 1972 Topps Nolan Ryan. I picked up a 1970 Topps Johnny Bench. And that was it for the 70s. So these were 3 cards on my checklist. I was excited to get those. And I just really couldn't find anything else from the 1970s that was on my checklist, especially SGC graded, because I was specifically looking for them SGC graded. Now, from 1969 back, I'm doing all of those in PSA. Long story why, I'll get into it deeper into another video. But from the 1960s, here's what I picked up last year. I picked up the 1960 Topps Carl Yastrzemski. Not a card I was really targeting because it's not crazy expensive. But I saw it toward the end of the show and I had money left, so I figured I'd pick that up. So I grabbed that. Here's another one, similar boat as that. The 1965 Topps Joe Morgan rookie. Again, not a card, not very expensive. I think I paid $110 for this in the 6, but just a card that toward the end of the show I had a little bit of money left, so I figured I'd pick it up because it's on my list. All right, and then some of the bigger ones from the 1960s, and I was super excited to pick these up. I picked up the 67 Topps Tom Seaver in a PSA 6.5. And I just love the centering on this card. It's centered beautifully, it's sharp. So I think I paid $1,400 for this. So I was happy to grab this, knock this off my list, because I knew it's a tough one. It's expensive and it would be tough for me to get any other day, Also picked this up. The 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie in a PSA 6. So I think I paid $1,300 for this one. And again, just an awesome card that I picked up that, while I had all that money, I was able to avoid having to try to pick this up, with my monthly card allowance. And then another 60s card I picked up, which I was super excited about, is the 61 Topps Mickey Mantle. So everything I'm doing in the 60s, I am targeting PSA 6s in those. But not just any 6. I'm not going to buy a way off center 6, right? I want it in a 6, but I also want a card with nice eye appeal. Mickey Mantle is the exception. So I will buy PSA 5s, Mickey Mantles in the 1960s. So I saw this one centered beautifully. I think I got a fair deal on it. I think I paid $5.25 for this. So I don't know what they're going for now, but I think at the time it was a fair deal. And again, just a beautiful card, centered beautifully. So picked that up. And then I picked up another mantle. So I mentioned this in another video that I have, but it was trade night. The last night I was there, it was a trade night, and I had there was like probably a 12-year-old kid who had a bunch of modern stuff, and he had one vintage card, and it was a Mickey Mantle. And so he had this out there, and I had to buy it from him. It was a good price at the time. So this is the 1959 Mickey Mantle, and it's a PSA 4, but again, it's just centered really nicely for the 1959, and I think I paid $4.25 to the 12-year-old kid for it. So again, I don't know what it's going for now. I think that was a fair price at the time. Especially with the centering on it. I thought it was beautiful, so I picked that up. All right, so those were my national purchases last year. I think I paid about $4,500 for all of these. And then, we went back to my buddy's house, and he had some cards he was looking to sell. And so I ended up purchasing some of these from him, just some random stuff, right? There's 1 football, 1 basketball, and 3 modern baseball. But the football card I picked up was the 94 SP Marshall Faulk in a mint 9. He's a great running back. I think this was a $20 card. I gave him $20 for this thing, but I used to love Marshall Faulk. He was a great running back, so I picked that up. I picked up the 1995 Finest Kevin Garnett in a PSA 9. So pick that up for him. I think I paid him maybe $50 for it. And then the other 3, which I think was pretty good timing last year, but Shohei Ohtani rookie cards. So I picked up his 2018 Topps Heritage in a mint 9. I picked up his 2018 Bowman in a PSA 10. And then I picked up his 2018 Topps Allen and Ginter Mini. And I don't know why, but I just love this card. So I ended up picking up these from him. I don't know what I paid him for these. It wasn't much. It was maybe 70, 100. I probably paid him 150 to $200 for these. But those were my national pickups. Everything I picked up from the national or that trip last year. So this year my budget is much less. My budget this year is going to be $2,000. And again, I'm sure there's guys going to the national with less than $2,000, and I definitely know there's a ton of people going to the national with a lot more than $2,000. But that's my budget this year. The national was a last minute decision, right? We were going to Chicago to visit friends and family. 2 weeks later, circumstances came up where my wife actually wanted to book new dates. And so I said, sure, if we can book 2 weekends earlier so I can go to the national. And we did. So, the National was not a thought in my mind, so I was not putting any baseball card money away for the National. And then, as I mentioned, this past year, I took a new job where, I don't get bonuses anymore. I have a much better quality of life, and I am much happier with my work. But unfortunately, I did take a pay cut for that, and I do not get any bonuses anymore. So there is no bonus money this year that is coming where I can allocate some to sports cards. So I don't have any of that. And so, ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, again, take some more money that we have put away, earning us interest, and so I'm going to take some of that. And so I figure I could take $2,000 and I should be able to get some stuff that I'm looking for, and I don't have to feel too bad about it, asking my wife, to take $2,000 to buy some more baseball cards, considering she just let me buy a 1963 Pete Rose rookie card in a PSA 6 just a couple months ago. So, a few months ago, I asked her if I can, if I could take $2,500 and buy a Pete Rose rookie, and she agreed. And so I don't feel like I can ask her for too much more. And I think $2,000 is fair, and she'd be okay with that. So that's my plan this year. So that's what I plan on taking. And so what am I focused on this year? Well, I'm pretty much through the 1970s. So last year I picked up some 70s cards at the National. And, throughout the course of this past year, I've picked up pretty much everything else on my list from the 1970s. I do have some bonus 1970s cards that I want. But as far as my list goes, right, my baseball card focus list, my 1970s, you can see there's only one card on there, and it's the 1971 Topps Greatest Moments Thurman Munson. If I see one, I'll probably grab it just because I feel like it would truly be the last 70s card on my list. But you don't see them very often, so I'm not expecting to see it. But otherwise, I'm focused on the 60s this year. Again, I'm not going to dabble into the 50s at all. That's not my focus right now. I'm staying focused in my lane, and right now, that is the 1960s. I think I have 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. 24 cards left on my list from the 1960s. It's a multiple of things, from post-war rookies, the Hall of Fame players, post-war rookies. So the 1960 Topps Willie McCovey, the 1961 Topps Juan Marichal rookie, the 1962 Topps Lou Brock rookie, the 1963 Topps Tony Oliva rookie, the 63 Willie Stargell I need, the 64 Dick Allen or Richie Allen rookie, the 66 Jim Palmer rookie, the 68 Topps Johnny Bench rookie, and that is it for the post-war rookies that I need. But then I also have things on here for the 300 great baseball cards of the 20th century list. So the 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle All-Star on there. The 1961 Topps Babe Ruth hits his 60th homer. The 1962 Topps Roger Maris. Things like that. So there are a bunch of cards on here, about 23 or 24, that I just said that I'm looking for in the 1960s. And, I do have also some 1970s bonus cards that are on my list still. Not part of my checklists at all, but just some stuff, some Hostess cards, maybe of rookie year players, some Hostess or Kellogg's, maybe some Topps minis of the 1975s of the George Brett or Robin Yount or Jim Rice, players like that. But yeah, that is pretty much just my focus this year. So actually another card on my 60s, what I'd love to pick up, and this is part of the 300 great baseball cards of the 20th century, is the 1967 Mickey Mantle, the Topps Mickey Mantle. So that'd be a great card for me. I love picking up Mickey Mantle baseball cards. And so if I can grab that one at the National, I mean, it kind of scratches the itch for a Mickey Mantle card. And it crosses off this card on my list here for my 1960s. And it's not a crazy expensive card in a PSA 5. So maybe I can pick that one up. But we'll see. So I'm excited to go. Like I said, I leave a week from Wednesday. And yeah, I'm just gonna see what I can do. So I'm gonna take my $2,000 and I'm gonna see what I can knock off this list from the 1960s, maybe even some 1970s if I see some. But that's pretty much it for today. I don't think I'm gonna put out another National video before the National. I'll obviously put out a video after the National of my pickups and some of the guys that I met at the National, at the YouTube meetup, and maybe even trade night if I can get there on Saturday. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So, all right, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.